Influencing without authority is being able to change the course of events within your workplace or even your business without the authority that usually entails, without the job title, without the pay rise, or even the access. Why is this important? Well, ultimately, you could be the change that you want to see. So if there is a problem and you want to fix it, then you can find some ways to improve your authority and influence within the business to be able to make that change. But it's also good for your own career. This is really important for designers. In my experience, 15 years being a designer and a design manager and a lead, I've noticed that designers don't tend to be as well equipped as other management roles at being able to influence without authority. We tend to lean back onto our harder skills of being able to design or research to be able to move work forward. So being able to put ourselves in positions of authority without having that permission in the first place puts us in a good position to be able to get more work done. This is the proverbial getting your feet under the table or getting your seat under the table. So you'll be able to influence and move things along in the business that are probably, in your eyes at least, more customer-centric, more user-focused. There's differences between managerial influence and contributor influence. So in this example, I'm going to be talking around like the management track and the IC track. So managers tend to have much more access to those conversations where you can build your authority and then build your influence. You might be in more leadership conversations, you might have more strategic sight of what's going on. So you're always going to have much more of that kind of strategic oversight. But this doesn't mean that if you're an IC, you can't have access to that influence or authority. And I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to improve your contributor influence. One thing that's probably worth bearing in mind is that you have to earn this and you have to be patient. What you're doing here is very much leaning more into your soft skills. So tip number 1, build trust. What you're doing here is nurturing relationships. You're building relationships with people to create better customer and user outcomes. If you can focus on building those relationships, then your influence is going to grow manifest. Spread the love. Recognize and shout about when people are doing great things. Practice empathy. Try to relate to your colleagues and stakeholders, find common ground, socialize with them, and adapt to the way people like to do things. Everybody works in a different way. If you understand their problems, their challenges at work, and you adapt your way of working to help them, then they're more likely to reciprocate that in the future. Build integrity. Do good work. You're here to do work. Make a promise to make great work and deliver on it. Be helpful where you can. So if somebody asks for your help, obviously prioritize it and balance with your own personal backlog, but offer that help. Because again, we're building relationships at work. How do you build good, strong relationships at work? You help other people out. There is something deeply primal that occurs in the body when you know you're being lied to. So be authentic, genuinely help people out where you can, and make great work. The third one I pulled out because I think it's super important, although it doesn't really sit by itself. It kind of spreads across the other 3 too. It's really important to align your goals with the business. Your goals have to align with the organization, otherwise what's the point? Look for opportunities to make things better and suggest changes based on clear rationale. Of course, people don't like change, so of course people are going to be a little bit weirded out at first. But if you can capture their imagination with what can be, so creating visions, like articulating it in a well-written proposal, backing it up with insight, identifying a few core key allies to contribute to that proposal, then you can do really great stuff. Depending on your organizational culture, you might have different ways of doing this. You might have a document writing culture, you might have a proposal writing culture, where it's really important that you write these things down and you gather support through key allies and pitch it to somebody in the exec. Or that you might need a whole full-blown vision piece. So as a designer, we're very good at bringing to life the future and what that could mean for us and our customers. So bringing that to life through good visuals and a good prototype might work for you. But focus on what the business cares about and then pitch that. 4th, trust yourself. For people to trust you, you have to do the good work, but you also have to trust yourself. If you don't trust yourself and have confidence in your own abilities, then people aren't going to have confidence in you. You are an expert in your chosen field. If you work in a multidisciplinary agile team, you're probably likely to be the only designer in the team. So you have to turn up and design good work, but also have a strong voice, a strong design voice that is representative of the customer and the user. And the final point on this one is be your own cheerleader. No one is going to articulate your value better than yourself. It's about having a balance, being able to acknowledge other people's great work, but also balancing that out with acknowledging, hey, I've done some good stuff too. In my experience, designers are the worst at this. I've had imposter syndrome for years, and I still get it occasionally, and a lot of other designers do. But by being able to articulate your own value occasionally, it really does build up your confidence. Watch outs. So there are some watch outs here. Set boundaries. Earlier on I said, try to be helpful. Helpful is good. Helpful is good. People will trust you and come to you when there's a problem. However, you could quite easily say yes to everything, and then before you know it, you're not actually doing your own work, which means that you'll then fail on building your own integrity. Stop apologizing. Practice humility, but don't over apologize. And this goes back to trusting yourself. It's really easy for designers who have imposter syndrome or confidence issues like I have to counterbalance your perceived weakness in your discipline by apologizing. Most good people think that's okay, that's fine. But for some people, that might erode their confidence in you. If you don't have confidence in yourself, then they're not going to have confidence in you. Some people might even think this is sucking up. This is not sucking up. This is building relationships. Choose your battles wisely. You might have a really good proposal that you really, really believe in. You've got some really clear rationale on why you should do it, and you've got some key people bought into it. If you can continue to push that proposal, which gets pushed back, then you might be seen as a nuisance. Look at other ways if you really believe in it, look at other ways to see how that can be delivered. Maybe try a thinner slice of it. Maybe try and pass it on to somebody else who has influence in a different area. But don't be annoying. Lift people up. As you're moving up your influence and your authority, make sure you recognize the people that have gone on that journey with you. There's nothing worse than stepping on people's heads to get up a greasy political ladder. So make sure that you're bringing people up along with you. And then finally, don't brag about this. That's not a cool look. Like, if this is something you really want to do, make sure that you're staying humble, you're not arrogant, and you're bringing people along with you. Anyway, I hope that was really useful for you. Thanks to Chris for giving me the idea for this video and helping me shape the script. This is something I've only really sort of come across over in the past few years. I've been a manager for 6 years. I'm moving into an IC role, and I've been able to transfer those soft skills into this IC world. I think being able to find what works for you and your influence and your authority and being able to shape the world around you is one of the most important things that we should be doing as designers, because we have a gift. We have an amazing tool set available to us that allows us to visualize and communicate our futures in the most succinct, exciting ways. So I believe we should do this more often. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, then please like and subscribe. I'm going to continue doing more of these videos. This is something I'm really passionate about. So let me know if there's anything else you'd like to hear about or like to pick my brains about. Find me on LinkedIn, find me on ADP list, and we can have a chat. Thanks.